Hi, everyone. Today, we are going to show you how to use Privacera to implement fine-grained access control for your Databricks environment. So to start with, before you log into your Privacera portal, you can see here integration with your single sign-on platform. In this case, Okta. But if you have a different single sign-on platform, you can integrate that with Privacera also. So I'm going to go ahead and use my admin account, not the single sign-on, to log into Privacera environment for the purpose of this demo. So when you log into Privacera, this is the homepage that you land into. On the left-hand side here, different menus, you have the modules and the options enabled. We are going to use the Access Manager module to enforce fine-grained access control for our Databricks environment. So I click here, the resource policies. For those of you who have used Apache Ranger to implement access controls for your data lake environment, they should find this to be familiar because under the hood, Privacera is powered by Apache Ranger. So what you're getting is not like a bleeding edge technology, but really something that has been used in the enterprise and is a robust tech tool to implement your security and governance in the cloud. You can see here different environments that you can control from your Privacera portal, whether it's Hive-like environments, which is what we'll use for our Databricks, your S3, ADLS, Kinesis, Athena, Postgres, Lambda functions, Redshift. So all of that can be implemented and even more options available. We are going to use Privacera Hive type policies to implement access control for a Databricks environment. Before we log into the Databricks environment, I want to show here the two policies that we'll be using to restrict access for a user called Shrek Emily to our sales data. So let's look at this policy here. We created this policy called sales all data access, and to the sales data within the sales data database and the sales data table. Within that, we are giving access to all the columns. And the people who have access can belong to this particular role, or they can be specific users. And the type of permissions you can give them, assign them here. Okay. Now, we're going to go back, and this is my Databricks environment in AWS. And we are going to use this to see how Privacera is enforcing policy. So I'm logged in here as the user Emily, for whom we have created those policies. We're going to go ahead and now run this query and select all the data from the sales data table. So while this query is running, I want to show you another policy here real quick, which is sales data restricted. And this is another policy on same table within the same database, however, restricting access to only these columns. So when you go back here and you see there is the columns here, when you select all, are ID, country, region, city, name, and sales amount. Notice the name column here. Go back here, we have taken the access away from name column. We're only giving to these columns. So this policy is enabled, but right now Emily is able to see all data because this particular policy enables her to see that data. So we are going to go ahead and disable this policy. Now notice that when we disable the policy, then we take away the access. And the reason is Privacera takes the approach of most restrictive permissions. So if you have not explicitly given permissions to the user or the role or the group, then people belonging to the group or the role or the specific users do not have access. Permissions need to be explicitly given. In this case, once we take away this permission, we just simply disable the policy, we'll see that Emily should not be able to run this query. And you can see real quick, we get this permission denied error for Shrek Emily, and she does not have select privileges on sales data to do all. However, she does have permission to run a query on these select columns. So I'm going to go ahead and run query on these select columns and see if she's able to see this data. And real quick, yep, as long as she's not looking for the name column, she should be able to access this data. We can use similar policies to enforce access, whether in a Snowflake, S3 environment, like I said, in Athena, and many other databases in your cloud infrastructure. Control all access from one place using your Privacera portal. Thank you.